Got 0 viewers. I wonder if people with 700 subscribers get any views on live videos. Shit. I barely get any views as it is. Somebody liked it. How the hell somebody liked it and nobody's watching it? What's up, one person watching my video? Two people watching my video. Wow, that's a record. Well, it's my first time, so I'm kind of surprised anybody's even watching this, considering that I only have like 700 subscribers. Shit. Where do I see the? I don't even know how to work this thing. I want to see how I can see like the if you guys comment something, but I don't see it. Oh, you probably haven't said anything. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to work this thing. But if you're watching, do me a favor and say something on the comments. I want to see if it shows. 'Cause I have it set up um to show messages, but I don't see nothing. Come on, say something. If you're watching this, say something on the messages so I can see it. I think I set it up the right way. Oh shit, there's filters. Sorry guys, this is my first. Hey, what's up, Dre? I see my first comment. All right, they have filters and stuff. Sorry guys, it's my first time ever going live on YouTube, so I'm just kind of going through all the settings and stuff. That's why you see me playing with the filters. So I never been here before, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, man, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm surprised anybody's even watching this. I just tried it 'cause fuck it. And I only have like 700 subscribers, so you know, I thought nobody was gonna. I don't have that many people to get like people to watch this, but I guess I do have a couple at least. How I'm doing on my new job? I'm doing fine, man. It's getting easier every day, which is a good thing. Yeah, gotta start somewhere. That's right. And yeah, it's getting a little easier every day. Now, to be honest with y'all, um, there's one thing that I kind of um, there's one thing that I mean I really love my job and I love the company and everything. So, but nothing is perfect. So even though I consider myself to be in a pretty close to perfect situation on my job. There's something that I wish was a little bit different, I guess. Um, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know if I would change it if I had the opportunity to change it. But that is that on my job, they're having me do a lot of Java stuff, which is cool. Um, but before I started there, I never did any Java whatsoever. I got in there because of my JavaScript because they also they like their developers to do their full stack, especially in the team that I'm on. Like the team that I'm on, we work with everything from databases um, to the back end, to the front end, to CSS. So we do everything. And Java and C Sharp teach you a lot about software, man. Yes, I agree with that 100%. Um, like there was a lot of things that, like starting with JavaScript, like it's not that it's so easy. It takes everything takes work, but like starting with JavaScript, it was kind of like, I just watched like a lot of tutorials and read and read. Actually, I have the book right here that I read to get started, like with JavaScript, which is kind of crazy. Literally, my phone was sitting on it. But it's this book. It's the um, it's the book that I always link on the description because it helped me a lot. So yeah, when you read a book like that, like you learn a lot of stuff. And then when I started working at that company and started working on more React, there was a lot of things that I was introduced to. So I took the time to learn it, and it's kind of like I understood it, and it makes sense. It was enough to get me around, especially with React. Um, but there's just things that you don't do as much in JavaScript, especially in the front end, that you learn exactly why it works like that in things like Java. Um, for example, like on React, when you have to like manage state and all that stuff, like that was the first time I ever actually like managed state. Before that, since I was doing mostly like front end JavaScript, I don't know, I didn't know what state was. But shit, people are making noise outside of my apartment. Boy. But I didn't know like what state was, and a lot of like, then with JavaScript you learn a little bit of like object oriented programming. Um, but when you learn Java, that's when you actually understand like how it actually works, and you actually understand object oriented programming, especially now because in JavaScript, a lot of things, since it's like asynchronous, a lot of things are moving to functional programming and whatnot. So yeah, when you actually learn Java, it actually requires you to do a lot more, to sit there for a lot longer and learn more about the theory and how things work behind the scene behind the scenes in programming. So I like that part because now that I'm like working with Java and learning Java and stuff, I feel like I understand programming to a whole new level. Or a lot of things that I just with JavaScript is much easier. So those things just happen behind the scene, and you don't you don't have to worry about them. With Java, you have to understand a lot more, especially like I said, things like object-oriented programming and in class inheritance and polymorphism, state management, all that type of stuff. That if you're just doing front-end JavaScript or jQuery, those things are easy in those languages, so you don't need to understand how they work behind the scenes. So yeah, I agree with whoever made that comment about how Java and C Sharp help you understand the actual basics of computer, programming behind the scenes and all that. So I'm grateful. Um, how hard is Java? I mean, it's 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 harder than JavaScript. Yeah, I think it's harder than JavaScript. So I'm actually feel kind of lucky that when I first started learning it, Java, I already knew um, somewhat JavaScript, at least like for the front end. And but I mean, it's not that hard. It just takes a lot of studying and stuff. But if I don't, it's not like impossible to learn. It's a lot easier than I thought it would be. Like when I first started learning it. I don't, I wouldn't say that I know everything about it. Um, I know, but like I feel like with Java, I feel like with JavaScript I'm good on my company, and I can do a lot of front end React stuff, which is what we do in the front end. But with Java, it's just kind of like I know enough to get me around, and I know enough to like solve problems. And if I have a problem that I can solve, I ask like a team member or somebody in my team, like, and tell them like, hey, I'm stuck here or something. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be afraid of it actually. But once you learn Java, you actually feel. Oh, somebody says, I don't know how I was convinced by clever. I don't know how I was convinced by clever programming to learn Python, and all of a sudden I'm learning HTML, CSS, and JS. I feel so stupid. I mean, there's nothing wrong with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I don't see anything wrong with that. That's what I learned first. Like I don't know if you were here when I mentioned it, but the book that I always link on like all my videos, this book right here, like it's a package of two books, and it's like you can see it right there. HTML. I don't know if you can. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. That's what I started with. Um, so I don't think it's a waste of time or nothing like that. Actually, like in my team, for example, there is this guy that he's like a senior developer, and he's not like the tech lead. The tech lead is kind of like the tech lead is kind of like the leader of the group. He's not the tech lead, but he's a senior developer, and he has been doing it for like 20 something years. He's been working at the company where I work for like 10 plus, and his whole life he's been pretty much a back end developer, a back end software engineer, and recently he took the time. About 4 weeks ago at my job, they gave us like 2 weeks to basically do whatever we wanted for those 2 weeks at work, as long as it benefits the company in some type of way. So you couldn't go there and like play video games or something like that. But they gave us those 2 weeks. So if we wanted to like learn a new language, or if we wanted to build an app for them, or build a service to solve a problem for them. So we could basically do whatever we wanted as long as the company could benefit from it. And the good thing is that they let you train. So if you just want to go there, and what I did was I went there and I just read, I was reading this book about Java, and and basically getting a lot more sharper in Java. But this other software engineer, like I said, he is a senior engineer. He's always working the back end. He took the time to learn more about the front end, and to learn more about like JavaScript and things like that. So if you have a senior developer like him that's been doing it for 20 something years, probably gets is getting paid very well, and he's pretty secure at his job, and people like that are wanting to learn JavaScript. I don't think there's any reason why somebody that's new in the industry um, should feel ashamed or something that they're learning JavaScript. And I mean, there's a lot of jobs for it. It's needed. The web runs on JavaScript. It's the most used programming language in the world. Um, I do understand that saying I know Java or I know C sharp or something like that sounds more fancy because they're like a little harder to learn. Um, they're not like as beginner friendly as JavaScript is, but at the same time, it's the most used programming language in the world. So you shouldn't feel ashamed of that. But anyways, what I was talking about earlier before I started, talking about Java and all that stuff, the thing that I say it's not bad, but sometimes, not all the time, I wish it was a little bit different. Is that because of my job, I am doing a lot of Java lately, and part of the reason why I'm doing a lot of Java is because I already got like, I'm kind of like the new guy still, and I got pretty comfortable with JavaScript to the point that I can pretty much do anything that's required for me to do there with JavaScript and React. So I wanted to learn the backend too, so I'm working on a lot of the backend stories with Java and the databases and stuff like that. So that's not bad in itself because I'm learning a lot. The thing that sometimes I wish it was different was that there's projects outside of work that I want to do on my own when I get home, after I get home from work. And those projects, um, it just doesn't really make sense to make them with Java. And the reason is because um, Java is better when you're gonna have when you're gonna build a web application that's gonna, to give you an example, is gonna like edit images and like add a filter to images and things like that. And something that's gonna require a lot of processing power is gonna be better to do with Java than it's gonna be better to do with Java than a lot of other things. But when you're doing things like, just like taking data from here, saving it into a database, and then retrieving it later, things like that can be done with Node. And the projects and the like the projects that I want to work on when I come home, it makes a lot more sense to build them with Node. And so basically, I wanna get more into Node. and and my work I'm doing Java. So when I get home, I don't feel comfortable getting into Node because like working with Node when I feel like I should probably be learning more Java so that I can progress faster at my job. So that's kind of like it's just a little dilemma. Like I said, I don't know if I would change it if I have the option because I like learning Java. It's just you know it just kind of sucks that I'm learning Java, so it's kind of like I only have so much time after I get off work. So during that time, I can either do more Java stuff at home, or I can work on my projects that I want to do in Node because it makes more sense for those to be doing in Node. So just kind of balancing those things out is kind of annoying sometimes because I feel like I want to work on things at home, but it can be counterproductive to the things that I need to learn for my job and to be a better developer. Period. All right, so I want to see the last comment so that I can answer. Okay, so you say at least you know Python, and maybe later on in your career you can do something with it. Oh, he's answering to the other guy. That's the funny part. I know the basics, however, when I went to build my portfolio, I found about it the hard way. You need the front end to present your knowledge. Yeah, bro. HTML, CSS, JS are fundamental languages. Are you planning to stay at your new job for a while, or are you planning to jump the ship? Oh no, I'm planning to stay there for a good minute. Um, it's um it's a pretty big company. I think you have me on LinkedIn, so you already know what company I work for. So it's it's one of the biggest companies in the world. So I feel pretty blessed to be there right now, honestly. Um, and I don't plan on jumping anytime soon because I feel like I'm still learning a lot there, and yeah, it's huge. um, I feel like I'm still learning a lot, and so I just don't see the need to like jump to another company. Even I mean, it's getting to the point that even if I was offered like more money, like if I was offered like $5,000 more a year to go to another company or something like that, still probably wouldn't move to another company, because like I said, I'm still learning a lot. So if I was if I felt like I was in a position where like some of the senior guys there, where they're like really smart, or they're pretty comfortable with everything, and they feel like they know everything, like all the languages that they need to know, and they know how to solve like every problem that might come about. If I was at that level, and then yes, and somebody offered me like to pay me more money, and it made more sense like for my future, then yeah, I mean, then I would probably consider leaving. But at this point, I don't see myself leaving anytime soon because I'm just learning so much there, um and it's fun. I literally moved to this city just to work there, and I actually moved not too far from the company. It's only about a 15-minute drive. So yeah, I don't plan on leaving the company anytime soon, unless it's like something crazy. Let me see if there's any more comments. Well, if anybody has any more questions or want to talk about something, let me know. What happened to my PC? How's my rent? What happened to my PC? All right, cool. Um, what happened to my PC was it's a hackintosh that I built. I talk about it in one of my videos, in the last video I posted, and it didn't break or anything. It's just that it was doing this weird thing where even when you shut it off, when I shut it off, if you press any key on the keyboard, it will like um come back on. Even if not, I'm not talking about like if you put it to sleep, because if you put a computer to sleep, that's what it's supposed to do when you press a key on the keyboard. It's supposed to you know, it's supposed to come back on. But even when you actually shut it off, like you hit power off. When you hit any key on the keyboard, you can back on. And I did a lot of things for that, and I checked on the BIOS all the things that needed to be checked to make sure that doesn't happen, and it still kept happening. So basically, by researching online and stuff like that, they told me that the solution for that was that the motherboard was probably faulty. So basically, I got a motherboard replacement. So I'm replacing the motherboard right now, which is really tedious and annoying, but it is what it is. You said put this video on YouTube, man. I don't know, man. We'll see. Maybe I'll put it on YouTube. And then somebody asked me how's the rent. Well, the rent is something that I'm pretty blessed about. I would say. Okay. I answered your question about books and online courses. In a second, let me ask these guys questions first. How's the rent? Well, you look Hispanic, Dre. So I'm assuming that you're like probably in the East Coast somewhere, like in the in like the New York, Boston, like New England area. So it's a lot cheaper than it is there. Like I'm not paying like thousands of dollars. Oh, Florida, Florida. Yeah, I don't know how it is in Florida, but right in here, like where I live, it's like if for like over a thousand for like $1,500 you can get a nice house, and I live in a small one bedroom apartment. So so yeah, it's not that bad. It's under $1,000. I can tell you that. Um, it's not like if I live in San Francisco or New York or some shit like that where people are paying like over $1,000 for an apartment, for a one bedroom apartment. It's nothing like that here. So that's kind of cool that I don't just get paid and have to blow all my money away on rent. Um, I mean, still rent, still sucks to pay it, but it is what it is. And then what's the other question the other guy asked? Courses versus books for effective learning. All right, so courses versus books. I feel like they're equally. I feel like they're equally good, if that makes sense. Um, Maybe for some people that might be different. Sometimes I feel like I'm a little retarded. So when I'm watching videos, I have to like rewind it and rewind it sometimes to get things, like to make sure that I get it. And because when I'm learning stuff, like especially when I'm doing a course, um, even when I'm writing code, which is not the best habit because sometimes you just gotta ignore things, especially when you're working on a big code base. You're not gonna understand exactly what every little thing is doing. Sometimes if something is called, if there's a function that's called get price, you have to assume that that function is gonna get you the price rather than like clicking in there and like seeing everything. So sometimes like other developers have told me that I worry too much about it. But when I'm taking a course, like especially if it's like for beginners, I want to make sure that I'm getting everything that they're explaining. So when I'm watching a video, I'm like rewinding a lot and rewinding a lot. Um, with books, it's you're just reading it, so I don't know, you can read it at your own pace, and so I feel like with books you can get a more theoretical understanding and understand better like how things work. With courses, it's more practical, but I would say they're about the same, really. Um, I would say they're about the same. I feel like when you learn from books, you understand things a little better, but when you're watching videos, um, you can get things done. When you're watching video like a video tutorial or like a video course, you can get things done much faster. Now, Now that you mentioned on that question, something is very important to that I think is very important now that you mention it, and it is that for courses and books, the courses that I'm talking about that I think that I feel like are like up, that are like even with books. Those courses are not free courses. Those are not like videos on YouTube, and maybe I'm like, I don't know. Like I said, maybe that's just me. But when I first started, like when I first got into development, I started on YouTube by watching like people on YouTube that posted free videos and stuff like that, and that just didn't work, man. That that just didn't work. Like for example, there's this guy, and I'm not trying to bash on him. Like I follow his channel, and I love his content, and I watch like almost every single video that he's put out there. Not every, almost every single, but I watch a lot of his videos, and I follow him, and I suggest that you go follow him too. But at the same time, I want to say that for me, I just couldn't learn from him, like learn. But it's still sometimes I watch his channel just to like because of like his opinion about stuff, or if I just want to get like if I don't want to like understand something, but I just kind of want to get an overview, sometimes I watch his video, and that is Learn Code Academy. I think it's probably like the most popular channel on YouTube, or one. I don't know if it's the most popular, but it's at the top. Um, and I mean, he's cool, but he I don't know if he's been a developer for so long or whatnot, but it seems like when he trying to teach stuff in his videos, it's like he just goes and like even by the way that he talks, you can tell that he's assuming that you know a lot of stuff. He'd be like, and here you do that, that's just that, and this is just that, and this is just that. Like, no, I don't know. I am a beginner. That's why I'm watching this video. So I don't understand who could ever learn from people like that. Like I said, I love his channel and I think it's cool. I think you should subscribe to it because he always talks about like new things, and I like to watch his channel like when new things come out. Like for example, if if there was like a new version of React that were to come out, he would probably be one of the first people that were to really that would talk about it, for example. And I would watch his video just to see kind of like an overview, especially now that I understand a little bit more. But when I was a beginner, watching his videos, it just didn't work. He just assumed that I know everything or that I knew half of the stuff. Like, no, man, I'm a beginner. So people like that, like that are making videos on YouTube for free. I would say like 95% of the time, for me, it just doesn't work. Like I mean, and I'm saying that, but at the same time, I watch like YouTube videos of like tutorials and stuff like that all the time. Um, but when you want to learn something from the beginning, I feel like you need to go with one of those paid courses, either Team Treehouse, which I think is the very best out there for beginners, or or um, or like Udemy. But in Udemy, if you take a course, like if you buy a course, the good thing is that you can return it. Like I think it's like within, they give you some time where you can return it, and I think you should take advantage of that because some people out there they just don't know how to teach. Now there is a guy that me and Coding Face recommend for like the JavaScript courses. I forgot his name. I think it's like Anthony something. Um, and he explains JavaScript and he's really good at teaching and like things just make sense. And you can tell like this guy is not just like a programmer that decided to make a YouTube channel and and just like starts talking about stuff and about some starts teaching you and acts like you already know half of the things. Like he actually he's like there are people out there that understand, like they can get into the mind of a beginner in a way, or they can put themselves in the position of a beginner and teach them things in a order that makes sense. They teach them one thing that's going to allow them to learn the next thing, and they don't assume that you know everything, and they put themselves into the position that you are. Pretty much that they know how to teach. There's some people that know development, but they just don't know how to teach. So that guy from Learn Code Academy, love his channel, but he just doesn't know how to teach. For people like me, I couldn't understand his stuff. Maybe you watch him and you should go check it out at least. And maybe you can learn from him. But yeah, so that's why I would recommend like watching you. YouTube videos about web development is great. You should be doing that, especially if you're starting out. But you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't only do that. You should. I think if you want to be a developer, you should invest $10, $15, $30 a month, $40 a month on on some type of like on a real course, like Team Treehouse, where you pay like $50 a month or $25 a month. They have like different plans, and you actually get like people that know how to teach. I'm talking about like the people they hire to teach you stuff are people that if you go to Barnes and Nobles, if you go to a bookstore, those are the same people that wrote like all the books that they have there. So it's like these people know that these people are in the business of teaching. Like they know how to teach. They not just some random dude that works at some company that decided to just start teaching. They actually know how to teach. They understand the psychology, like they understand the way that the mind of a beginner works in a way, so that they can teach a beginner, actually go from knowing nothing to knowing whatever they're trying to teach them. So that would be my biggest advice. Yes, for the web development, there are a lot of free resources, and if you actually get your career started and you get the first job, and then you actually establish yourself as a developer at that point, um, you're gonna be at another level where you're gonna be able to just, instead of like buying a course and paying for it, even though a lot of like my colleagues do and stuff, and I do, and I still do buy courses, and a lot of people do. But there's a lot of other, there's at that point you're gonna be at a level where you can just go in, if you want to learn a new language, instead of like buying a course, you can probably just go and look at the documentation and understand it just from reading, like, reading the documentation a little bit. For example, like at my job, there's a lot of people, like a lot of the senior guys, they didn't like buy a course to learn React. A lot of people did, but some, a lot of people didn't go and buy a course to learn React. They just type React on Google, and it takes you to Facebook page of the developers of React, and they just started reading the documentation. They're developers, so they can understand things like that a lot easier. But if you're a beginner, I would say invest. I mean, think about it. What's $25? What's $50? What's invested in your career when when especially if you're learning this career because, for example, let's say you want a better job. Let's say you're working entry level, you're working at a factory, you're working at a restaurant, something like that, and you're making like what, $13 an hour, $12 an hour, $11 an hour, things like that. You know what what's there to, you shouldn't even think about it to spend. Well, you should think about everything, but it shouldn't be a big decision to spend $25 a month for 6 months to learn something that's gonna take you from earning $13 an hour to earning $27 an hour, $25 an hour, $32 an hour. You know what I mean? So it's that's one of the great things about this field. That it's a field where you can just, if you can take the time and you can learn this stuff, you can literally jump like that. You can jump from making $13 an hour, $9 an hour to making 25, $27 an hour, like that in 6 months or a year, however, whatever pace you decide to take. Um, because it's not one of those fields where you go to college and you learn something just so that you could show off the degree. It's one of the fields where people actually pay you because you're actually making them money. For example, you work for a big company, and that company gets a million visitors a month, right? And you work for a company that gets a million visitors a month, and they make you do something for that website that makes for the website that somehow makes their customers spend $10 extra a month. You know, so how much money are they making off of you? So it's all about business, and thank God for us, like software developers, we're still in demand, and companies need developers because whatever they're paying us, even though to us it might be a lot because we're like regular civilians or something. Especially like I say, if you come from a background of working crappy jobs, to us it might be a lot, but they're paying us that because they're making much more. Um, And the reason why they're paying us that is because we can actually do this thing. It's not one of those fields that is like, oh, it's only about who you know and just getting the right hookup. It like that matters in every career. And I actually wanted to make a video about that, um, about how like networking and meeting the right people and all that stuff, like can help you tremendously. But at the same time, um, even if you know the CEO of Facebook, if you know, even if you know Mark Zuckerberg, you cannot go up to him and like and not know anything and be like, hey, hire me as a developer. I heard that you guys pay like $130,000 a year starting out or whatever. So hire me as a developer. He's gonna be like, even if it was your friend, he's not gonna hire you as a developer because you just don't know the stuff. If it was something else, sure. Like for example, I have a friend that I actually talk about him in my other video, um, in my last video where he works in radio. He tells me that in radio, for example, in his industry, it's a lot about who you know and who's friends with who. And he's telling me about how he's been in that industry for like almost 10 years, and there's people who's like they were just popular on Instagram like 2 months ago, and they can go and get like on the radio in better stations that he's ever been at just because they're already popular or because they know somebody and they just get the hookup. In development, that's one of the beauties of it is that even though who you know matters, it's also about can you put in the work. So if you're willing to out hustle other people out there and you're willing to hustle and learn the stuff, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a job. So like I said, what's $50, $30, $40 in a course when that's literally gonna change your life and it's gonna make you like 40,000 more dollars a year, you know? So I would say invest in your courses. Don't be just like I say, it's great to watch things on YouTube and things like that, but you also gotta invest money into in the you also gotta invest money to get the actual best content out there. Otherwise, Otherwise, I don't know. It might just take you longer. At least for me, all the free stuff, it just doesn't work as well. It just doesn't. Uh, so I think I got some more questions that I took a lot of time responding about that. Responding about that. Did the hardware knowledge you have help you in my career? Nope. I mean, I don't know hardware like that. I'm not like a like an electronics person that like knows how to fix electronics and things like that. It's I mean I know how to fix like a cell phone if it breaks a lot of times, but it's not because like I know like the theoretical things of it. I just like put a YouTube video that's fixing the same problem on and fix it. Building a computer is just the same way. You can just Google it and and watch a video um, or 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 read a blog post about how to build a computer. Um, so no, I'm not. I don't know if there's much correlation. I mean, I guess in a way, the fact that I'm not scared to like build a computer because it's not that hard, it's not that scary. I guess having that type of curiosity towards technology helps because I don't know. It means that you're not scared to do stuff. So and you don't and I'm not scared of technology. Like if somebody knows how to do it, why can't I do it too? Building a computer, it's building a hackintosh. I mean, building a hackintosh is much harder than building a PC. A PC I can build easily because I have built a few. And but building a hackintosh was harder, but I had no idea how to do it. I didn't go to school to learn how to build a hackintosh or whatever. I just watched a couple YouTube videos and then I went to a website, Tony Mac X86, and I read their instructions and I follow their instructions and I build my hackintosh. Now I had a billion problems when I first built it, um, but I just used the internet and I Googled stuff until I found answers. And it was it was correct. It was hard and it was annoying as shit, but it was a cool learning experience, and I felt pretty proud when I finally got it working. Um, Except for days like today when I have fix the things that are not working correctly. Well, yeah, I don't know, man. As a developer, you're not gonna have to fix hardware, man. That's like, I don't even know who does that. IT people, I guess. I don't. It's. I don't even think that if a computer breaks at my job, I can like open it and fix it myself. I don't think they would like me to do that because they would be like, "What up, Omar? Good to see you in another video. What's up, Jay? Thanks for coming up to see my packed full house. The whole world is watching live video." You know what? This is not as bad as I thought. I thought. I mean, I know that's not a lot of people watching, but at the same time, I only have 700 subscribers. When I see people that have like 15, 20,000 subscribers, 50,000 subscribers, and they go live and they got like 100 people watching, I guess I don't even have a tenth of the amount of subscribers that these people have. Well, I guess I do have a tenth, but I don't have as many subscribers as these other people, and I'm still getting like at least like 5 people to watch it. So I mean, it's not like an audience, but at least it's like having a conversation, I guess, with 5 people. So we still got a little get together, I guess. Like I said, compared from to my amount of subscribers, that I don't have a lot. How long before you start applying for work, and what were your strategy for learning HTML, CSS? Man, how long before I started applying for work? It was kind of in my situation, man. It was kind of I didn't think I was ready to apply for jobs, but at the same time, I'm not gonna lie. Like I kind of put all my eggs in one basket when it came to this development shit, and I took a lot of risk. Like I quit my job because I just felt like I could, I felt like if I could learn development, I felt like doing my while I had my job, like my main job that I had. I'm working at a restaurant at that time. Um, I could only do so much like development. Like I would only be like I used to work at a restaurant and I was working there from the time it opened to the time it closed. I was the manager there, and that's the way it was. And I was there Monday to Friday, from the time it opened to the time it closed. And it was what time it opened. The restaurant opened at 11, and I had to be there um, at 10 in the morning. And the restaurant closed at 10, so I left there at 11. So I was there what 13 hours every single day, Monday to Friday, and I was like learning development on the weekends and stuff like that. And then I finally got the opportunity to get a part time job where I only had to work the weekends and not work during the week, even though the money wasn't shit. The money, I mean, I can tell you right now how much it was. I was getting paid $150. No, well, I was gonna tell you how much I was getting paid on average, but I was getting paid $100 every night that I work. Um, Yeah, that was a hectic schedule. Yeah, that's true. Well, I was like watching all these motivational videos and stuff, and I'm thinking like, I'm gonna do it. People say that you can do this when you have this out of a schedule, but I'm gonna do it. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care if I'm working 16 hours a day. I'm still gonna bust my ass when I'm not at work, and I'm gonna learn this shit, and I'm gonna better my life or whatever. That was kind of like my attitude. But then it was kind of like, it came to the point where I felt like I was only touching it on the weekends. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Especially people here on YouTube and you watch like all those motivational videos and stuff. I mean, I still watch like motivational stuff because I feel like you need a lot of that, um, especially like self-discipline stuff. But yeah, sometimes you just want to put too much on your plate, I guess. Um, but anyways, I was learning, I was doing stuff on the weekends, and it felt like, let's say I touched it on Saturday. I was like learning web development on Saturday. By the time next Saturday came around, it's like I forgot everything I learned last Saturday. So I was doing I had to like spend the next Saturday pretty much learning all the shit that I forgot from last Saturday again, and then maybe learning like a little bit more. And then by the next Saturday, I forgot all that shit that I learned that Saturday, and I had to learn all that shit again. And it was just taking me forever, man, because I was only doing shit on the weekends. And I thought like, and I pretty much used my head, like I pretty much used my head, and I researched to see if this shit was realistic. Like, if I bust my ass like that, like, am I gonna really get myself out of this situation? Like, now, I didn't only become a developer like for the money and shit like that, because I'm a firm believer that if you don't like something, I didn't want to like fucking do something and spend like so much work learning something just to fucking hate it at the end. That would have made no sense. But at the same time, the money was a big part of it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yes, I wanted to learn development just because. I mean, all this stuff that's happening with technology and all that stuff, that's fucking crazy. And even though a lot of like we already missed the boat in a lot of shit. Like, for example, now that the biggest example is Facebook. Like, now that Facebook is made, everybody's like, oh, we could have made Facebook if we just thought of the idea. At least everybody that's a developer that knows how to develop. But shit, hold on, I'm thirsty. But everybody can think, oh, everybody that's a developer now, everybody's like, oh, I could have made Facebook if I would have thought of the idea back then and shit. So it's like we missed the boat on big shit like that, obviously. Even though there's reasons why. But anyways, I just know that there's a lot more shit that's gonna be coming up, and I just think it'd be cool to be a part of it. And I also always have kind of like an entrepreneurial mindset. Um, One of the reasons why I like ended up in shitty situations, working shitty jobs, is because I started like my own businesses a couple of times. I started businesses, and and in some one way or another, they pretty much ended up failing. About half of them because it was just not like the best business, and about half of them because I just did something stupid. Um, you know, Even one time I got in trouble with the law and stuff, and had one of my businesses shut down and whatever. Um, but anyways, I thought like learning development like could help me a lot, like have a stable career, change my life, and but also learn stuff that I actually generally thought it was cool. And and like I said, I was working like 13 hours a day, every day, and at that restaurant, and only on the weekends I was learning development. And every Saturday when I wanted to learn development again, or every weekend, I had to relearn all the shit that I forgotten because I didn't think about it for the whole week. So it came to a point where I just said, like I was saying, I did my research, and I needed to see if this shit actually gonna pay it off. I need, you know, I'm not gonna. It's gonna take me 30 years to fucking learn at this rate. So I need a faster way. I need to put more time into this. Like, this is my actual future. This restaurant is cool. Um, it's owned by a family that I like a lot or whatever. But at the same time, this isn't my future. So I need to do something. I need to I need to actually spend more time on what I actually wanna. I need to spend more time working for myself and to better myself than I spend working for the owners of this restaurant or for this restaurant. So so yeah, so that's when I said, this is too much. I'm gonna quit this job. Well, I got the opportunity. A friend of mine told me about a job that I could do on the weekends that would pay me $100 every night that I worked there, and but it was only on Fridays and Saturdays, and sometimes it would only be on Fridays, not on Saturdays. No, it was backwards. It was on Fridays and Saturdays, but sometimes um, that place was not busy on Fridays, so it was only on Saturdays. So I was making like a week. I was making like $200 working at this job. There were a lot of weeks, pretty much like every other week, I was only making $100. And I ain't lived with my parents since I was like 18. So it's not like I had like you know people to take care of me. So I have to pay my rent. I have to pay bills. I have to do all that shit. Um, so pretty much what I did, even though that wasn't much money, it's I actually had a roommate, and we were splitting the rent in half. And I live in Ohio, So the rent is not gonna be like, like $2,000 or some shit like that, like it would be in New York City or in San Francisco or some bullshit like that. It was about $800. It was actually $700, and it was 350 each when we split it. So pretty much what I did is every single cent that I earned at that job, I pretty much I pretty much used it to pay like bills and to pay the rent and to buy food at the supermarket. I'm talking about cheap ass food just so that I could have something to eat. I didn't have a single dollar extra to to buy anything that I wanted. If I was like out and I was like starving and shit, and I saw like Chipotle, I couldn't be like, oh shit, let me get me some Chipotle. Like, no, I didn't have no money for that. I had to fucking go home and make some fucking tuna sandwich or something. And I did that for how long? I did that for a long time. I did that for like 8 months or something like that. Um, like that was the amount of time from the time like I quit my job to the time I actually got a um a job as a developer. And I mean, like I said, that's not the time that I started learning web development. But before that, I was learning it, but it was just like the progress was really, really, really slow. Um, but yeah, and I pretty much did that. So that allowed me to have like the week from Monday to Friday free, for me to work on development. So now another thing that's just not gonna happen. You're not gonna sit on a computer and code for like 16 hours a day. It's just not gonna happen. Your brain is gonna fry. It just doesn't happen like that. So what I would do is, um, my girlfriend, she got a gym membership where she could bring another person with her. So I didn't have a gym membership, but I went with her, and I did that every morning, because like when I was watching like all this like I felt like what I was doing required a lot of discipline, um, because I didn't I don't think it was easy, and I just feel like I feel like if you don't have discipline, when you're making that little money, you easily gonna not be able to pay your bills because you can easily say, oh fuck it, I just get some McDonald's instead of eating at home. Fuck it, I just buy this or, whatever. So I started like watching a lot of like Tony Robbins videos and like a lot of motivational videos and a lot of videos on YouTube, about like self discipline and shit. So pretty much every single one of those videos like tell you like you have to work out, like you have to, if you want to make your life better, you have to make it in you have to make your life better in every aspect of your life or whatnot. So I started like working out with my girlfriend using her membership. So I couldn't go unless she went. But every fucking morning I would like call her and tell her like, get your ass up, we're going to the gym, just so I could use her free membership. um, and she actually liked that now because, now that I like moved away to a different city or whatever, she just doesn't go because she doesn't have anybody to push her or whatever to go. But anyways, so I every morning I would wake up and I would take like this cold ass shower just because Tony Robbins says something about how like he like every morning he jumps into like a nitrogen pool to like freeze his body and chuck his body, and that gives him like so much energy for the day. So I would take a cold ass shower, kind of like the poorest man version of that, and I would go to the gym, and then after the gym I would shower and like eat and like make me something at home to eat, and then I would learn web development for like 8 hours. Now, at that point, obviously, learning was a lot easier because I had the whole day, and all I was doing was going to the gym, going home, learning web development Monday through Friday in the same shit. Except that on Fridays at night, I would go to this part-time job that I was doing just so that I could like pay the bills and shit like that. And I did that, like I said, for like 8 months. Um, so yeah, man, I know this NDR, bro, but it's that is the point. Like I don't know if you know who Tony Robbins is, but he's pretty much like he's probably like the most famous motivational speaker there is, and he's like this crazy millionaire, but he's like very disciplined, and he's always like teaching people to like become a better person or whatever. But he has like different businesses and stuff, so he's always busy, but he's always getting shit done. And he says that like one of like his secrets is that every morning he gets into a nitrogen pool. You know what nitrogen is? That shit actually freezes you. So he has like he jumps into like this pool that like sprays like nitrogen on him. So literally freezes him for like a couple of seconds. Yeah. So he like freezes him for like a couple of seconds, and he like wakes him up to the point that he gets out of there. He's like, okay, I'm ready to go and like start his hustle or whatever. So obviously I'm not gonna do that because I don't have like fucking the money that he has. I don't have $500 million that he does to buy a fucking nitrogen pool or whatever. Um, but it is true because you can see it yourself. Like if you wake up in the morning and you go and and you go get in the shower and you make it nice and warm and you're in the shower feeling all cozy and warm and you get out and you're still feeling all warm and nice, like you're gonna start your day feeling all warm and nice. You know what I mean? So once I tried it like for a couple of times, it was like shit. This shit actually works. Like when you get in the shower and you're like, and you just make it cold, and all that cold water hits you, just like fuck. But then you get out of there like and you get used to it. But like, after like 5 seconds, you get used to it, and you're like, and you just get out of there like fuck, like I'm ready to go, like I'm awake, like you're not sleeping after taking a cold last shower, like you are not sleeping. Now I'm gonna say this though. I didn't sit in that cold shower forever. What I did was what I did was I was or what I still do this every time I shower. But what I did was you started regular like because when you're tired and shit you don't want to jump into like that really cold shower. So you would start your shower regular and you would get like the warm water and you would like and actually like wash yourself and all that shit like with the normal with the warm water. But then once you're done like soaping yourself or whatever, then you make it cold and you just sit there in the cold water for like 15, 20, 30 seconds. You just sit there and then and you just take it. But you get out of there like fucking you know you get out of there ready to go. So I don't know. It's probably I don't know. Maybe it's just psychological or whatever. But to me it works. Like if I get in the shower like all warm and shit, and I shower with the warm water, when I get out I just feel like so warm and like just ready to get out the shower and go back to bed because I'm just like feeling warm and comfortable. but but yeah, when you take that cold shower, you're ready to go. So that's what I would do it every day. I would like wake up, not think about it, go do it, call my girlfriend, I'm on my way, so we can go to the gym, get home, and learn web development. So anyways, so the point that I was getting at is like before I started like doing all this shit just to learn web development, I did a lot of research, and I basically made sure that this shit was gonna pay off. You know, like I'm telling you, like, I'm not only doing it for the money, but at the same time I needed some money. So if I was gonna, there's no point in me quitting my job to learn this thing just because I think there's a chance that I probably maybe will get a job. Like like I'm a grown like if I was a kid that lived with his parents or whatever, like you can take a risk like that. You can pretty much learn whatever you want. Um, you don't have to worry about money. You don't have to worry about bills, whatever. For me, I cannot just fucking take like a whole like a like 8 months, a year of my life to do something, um, to learn something, and basically have no money for like a whole year, because I'm a fucking grown man. I need to fucking pay my shit. So the only reason I did that was because I did a lot of research, and I'm telling you, like if um if you then sorry, I just saw a comment there that kind of like took my speech away. But I did a lot of research and I make sure that like this developer demand, everybody paying so much like everybody paying the developer so much or whatever was not like a myth. I make sure that if I was gonna get into this, I was actually gonna have a real opportunity to like be able to support myself and get myself into a very financial situation, that would allow me to do more things, to get myself into a situation where I didn't have to work 13 hours a day, to get myself into a situation where I was, where I could go to work like a regular person, come home at a decent time, where I still have like 3 or 4 hours to work on my other stuff. I needed to get myself into that situation, and I made sure that this career was gonna get me into that situation. So I did a lot of research. Um, I did a lot of research involving that, and pretty much, you know, the facts are there. The facts were there. People are looking to hire developers. If you know what you're doing, if you're alright, I don't know, but if you know what you're doing, well, actually, it's so bad right now that if you're alright, you can probably still get a job. If if you hustle your way around and know where to look. But yeah, but it's as long as you don't like suck or whatever, you're if you know what you're doing, pretty much you're gonna get a job. Um, so once I knew that that was a fact and that that was the case, then once I knew that there's not like I cannot tell you, there's not a single person that I know that's like a developer. Like, and I'm not talking about like a junior developer, like somebody that's like teaching themselves right now. I'm talking about like somebody that's like an established developer, or that like graduated college, like in computer science or software engineering, that like cannot get a job. I cannot tell you one person. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is, because I mean, there's fucking 7 billion people, 8 billion people in the world. I'm pretty sure there is a lot of people, but I cannot find one. So that's how the demand is. How's the money, bro? What is was it what you expected? Yeah, man. I mean, to tell you the truth, it was. I mean, I'm. I did my hustle the right way, and pretty much I didn't have any. And I'm gonna make a video about this, like talking into more details, so that I can organize my thoughts and actually give you like the right advice, not kind of like just say random shit like I'm saying here now. And hope that it makes sense. So I'm gonna make a video about this so that I can answer your question about how's the money, is it what you expected, and explaining why it actually was a little more than what I expected. And it's basically because of the method that I and it's not like, oh, I'm a genius, I invented this method that that can get you a job every time. I didn't. It's pretty much what everybody tells you to do. Well, not everybody, but a lot of, if you do your research, a lot of people will tell you this is probably the best way to do it. So if I say, well, this is the way most people have been successful, I'm gonna try this because it's probably gonna work for me. And that's what I tried, and it worked for me. And pretty much that is, you just gotta go to. In my case, I didn't know anybody that knew that knew like software development, that knew web development. I didn't know anybody. I had one friend in the DR, Dominican Republic, from when I used to live there, that was into it kind of, but he was not doing anything that like people here are paying like good money for. He was doing PHP, which I mean it's kind of cool, I don't want people PHP people to think that I'm talking shit about PHP, but it's not like what the big companies are using. PHP. Most of the internet is in PHP. That's true. But at the same time, most of the internet is also WordPress, and WordPress is more for like small businesses, things like that, small to medium size. But anyways, I didn't know anybody like in my circle of friends besides this guy that I knew from when I lived in DR that knew anything about web development. So I was like completely on my own. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have nobody. So by spending like 2 minutes in the internet doing research, I realized that that was a big part of it. And I didn't know anybody. So what am I gonna do? Just sit there and hope they come? No, I went and I found it, and I went out there to find these people. Oh, I didn't go anywhere. I got on my computer and I went to find these people on my computer. I got into Facebook and I looked for Facebook developer groups. I looked for startups, for like startup, because pretty much like the biggest thing in startups, in like businesses right now is tech. Like everybody wants to develop the new Uber, the Uber of McDonald's, the Uber of Taco Bell, whatever. everybody wants to develop an app, and so that's pretty popular among startups. So I signed up to every single meetup that I could find, and I was going to these meetups like knowing not a single person there, nothing, and I'm just going there like, what's up, like I'm here to meet you guys, what's up, and it came to the point that, like I was saying, since I quit my job during the week, um, I was driving to these meetups, and it kind of sucked because I mean I literally remember going to these meetups that was not in the same city that I live. I had to drive over an hour. Um, in this actually the meetup that got me this job. That's why if you have seen my other videos, you know that I have said before that like the city where I used to live is not the same city where I got my job, so that I recently moved to this city for this job. But I wanted to go to meetups and like meet people so bad because because I knew like I didn't have no connections, or I didn't know nobody to hook me up. So I needed to learn my stuff. That was the main priority. But then on top of that, I needed to meet people. So I needed to meet somebody to hook me up. So I started going to every single meetup that I could possibly go, and I even saw meetups not that were only in my city, but that they were like in other cities that were not my cities. And I even drove to um I started driving to this meetup every Wednesday that was over an hour away. And I remember, like, I'm not lying, there was one day where I wanted to go to that meetup, and I needed money, and I didn't have any single money, and I didn't have any money at all. And I literally started collecting coins, and I went to I always had like a jar where I put like all my change, not all of it, but the ones that I remember to put in there. And I'd empty that jar, and I got like $13 out of it, and I was like, fuck yeah, I got it. And I literally used that money to put gas in my car to drive me there and back, and to pay for the parking, which is not much. It's just like like street parking or whatever. It was in a big city, and it was actually at that meetup that I finally like, that and I mean, it didn't happen overnight. Like I was learning, but I was like building stuff, and I was building stuff, and I was building stuff, and I developed like this game. I wish I had it, but I don't. It's somewhere. I think it's on my GitHub account, but it's not deployed. I actually deployed it, and I even bought a domain for it. It was called drunkdices.com, and but anyways, I made like this little app, but it worked, and and most importantly, had a really good design. So even though the programming wasn't like super complicated, I was pretty good with CSS, and I had like design skills from like before when I used to like try to be a graphic designer and whatnot. So it looked pretty nice, and it worked. And it impressed a lot of people until I met somebody that told me about about a company that was looking to hire new people, and that's pretty much how I got in the door. Um, so when I actually like was told how much I was gonna be making, it was actually, I don't want to be sharing like how much I make because I don't know, I don't know, it just feels weird. And I know that sucks because I remember like watching people and I'd be like, come on, just tell me how much you make. I don't know, I'm just curious. I just want to know like how much should I be expecting when I'm in that situation. But I don't know. Now that I'm here, it's kind of like I don't want to share that, but it's actually more than what I expected. I thought that I was gonna be making like, like I thought like for my first gig I was probably gonna be making like $15 an hour, and I thought I was gonna be fine because I mean $15 is still more than what I was making working at a restaurant, and just to have the opportunity to like work for a company and like and learn, and just to get my foot in the door, but at the same time I would be getting paid for it. That I thought that would have been like good enough for me, but it was actually more than that. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. And and the, and the reason why it's more than that is because you also gotta think, now that I have talked to like other people about it, um and I thought like, oh, I thought I was gonna get like 15 an hour or something, but it was actually more than that. It's because you gotta think most of the people taking those positions are people coming straight out of college, So you're not gonna tell like somebody that's like a freaking, engineer that just graduated with their degree, we're gonna pay you $15 an hour. I mean, you're not just gonna, so this is a really shitty company that well, I don't want to say that because I feel like if you get an opportunity for $15 an hour, you should you should take it. I would have taken it, and I would take it again if that was the first thing that was offered to me. Um, but if you work for a company that pays everybody that's at that position that just graduated college, they're paying them like 25, 24, $23 an hour. You know, it would be kind of messed up for them to say, yeah, we're only gonna pay you 14 because you don't have a degree. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's companies that do that and stuff, but you know, for 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 a lot of companies, especially when they want to hire somebody for that position, they don't. A lot of the times, the way that companies are like structured, they don't care so much about like you and how much to offer you. They care more about like how much do we offer for this position, like how much is like the budget type of thing. So it's like we have a budget where we can pay $25 an hour for this position. So if somebody comes from from college, we tell them, hey, I know you just graduated college and you just did your master in computer science or whatever. We're gonna pay you. We have this position up, and this position pays $25 an hour. So if somebody comes that doesn't have a degree and they offer them the same position, the position still pays $25 an hour. It's not like they're gonna tell them, well, this position pays $25 an hour, but since you didn't go to school, we're gonna pay you 10. You know. So yeah, so I feel like that's kind of why it worked out for me. To the point that I was getting paid even more than I expected. It was because I guess my the approach that I took to like meeting people and not and like going out and meeting these people and getting involved with the community, and most importantly typing code and developing things that I could show to people that people could use on their computers, that people could go to a website and use this. um you know I think that was the most important part, and I feel like pretty much I feel like what I built, I gave my people. I built a thing. I told them go to here.com, and they went there. They saw the game, they saw the app, they saw that it worked, and they were kind of like, oh, they were impressed. So eventually I met this person who was impressed with it, and he has his connections, and then I finally got like a not exactly an interview, but I got to kind of like sit down with somebody and show them like and pretty much um program with them for like 2 hours so that they could see like the way that I program and stuff like that. And um so yeah, I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things when it comes to like doing like the hustle part of it. It's um it's it's like making your connection, staying involved in the community. That's huge. Like I said, I'm gonna make another video getting into more details, getting these thoughts a little more organized because I feel like I'm not saying things organized in an organized way. But yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have the website up because even though somebody asked me in the comments, um, do you still have the website up? I would like to see what you did. Yeah, I don't have the website up anymore because even though I paid for the .com, I didn't pay for the actual hosting. I used this free hosting service. That was cool, but um it requires people to log in. Like I think like you gotta have like 10 visits a month or something like that. And since it wasn't something like it didn't get any views because the only people that ever went into it was the people that I told them to go. Um so I think once it went like a month with like 0 views or something, the the free hosting company took it down, and I just didn't pay for it anymore because I don't know, it's not one of my priorities. So yeah, the website's not up anymore. um I think I have it on my GitHub, like the first version of it that I ever did. I don't think it's updated, but I think it's in my GitHub. Maybe. I'm not sure. Um, well, yeah. And then another website that I have is like if you go to like surrealmedia.com, so that's like my last name, Suriel media.com. That's kind of like my personal page that I had at that time. It's as basic as it could possibly be. Uh, so that definitely didn't impress anybody. But the actual game that I built did, I guess, impress the right people. So one person that was one question that was asked here was, what if you have a child? Any advice? Man, that's tough because I don't have any kids, so I don't know if let me think about it. If you have a child, I feel like that should be more motivation for you to get into this field because I don't know, you just I don't know, unless you're like in another field that's getting paid as well, and you just want to switch because of the career, then I don't know because you don't want to take like a huge risk that's not gonna make you any that's not gonna allow you to support your child better. Basically it's not gonna pay you any more money, but you're just doing it because you want to. I don't have any kids, but I feel like once people have kids, it's like they're not the most important person in their lives anymore. It's their child. Um, so if you're making if you're making $20 an hour at a job, you don't want to quit. You don't want to take like a huge risk and possibly lose the job and not be able to support your child just to go to another job that's gonna pay you $20 an hour, or whatever number it is. But if you are um if you are not in the best like financial position and you want to do something better for your child, I feel like this is a great field to get into. I mean, I feel like it's flexible. Like I don't have any kids, but for example at my company, the people that have kids, um I mean, not that this is a habit or anything, but the people that have kids, if anything is going on with their kids, they just don't go to work and they're programmers, so they can be like, I will work from home today, and they just log into the VPN and they're working in their couch because their kid is sick or whatever, and they're like at home taking care of their child, and they're still working and they're still getting paid, completely normal. Now, most companies don't like you to work remote all the time because it just creates a lot of confusion. Um, and it creates a lot of confusion, and it could get messy real. Let me see how much battery I have. Okay, I'm good. It creates a lot of confusion if you got somebody working remote all the time. That's why most companies don't want you to work remote, even though you technically can as a web developer. Especially if they're like a big organization that's following agile um, methodology and stuff like that. But as a developer, even if their company is not like a remote, even if it's not a remote position, it's not uncommon for people to take a day off, not take a day off, to work from home. So if your child is sick, stay home. If your child's school is closed because it was snowing too bad, stay home. Um, Nobody cares about that stuff. I mean, nobody's gonna tell you no. Now, I do know other jobs where you pretty much just can't do that. You have a child, your child is sick, you can make it work. Well, you better find a babysitter or some shit because if you don't make it work, your ass is getting fired. In development, it's not like that, and the reason it's not like that is because even if a company wanted to do that, um, they just won't because they need developers. So, you know, they got like 50 positions that they gotta fill. Oh well, that's a lot. So let's say they're looking for like, not every company is gonna be that big, but let's say they're looking for developers, so they need developers. If they don't let you do shit like that, you can just go to another company. And if you know, so pretty much companies have to put up with it. Even if I had a software development company, for example, like if I was, like if I had a company and I was hiring software development, I know that I would have to let these people work from home. Like even if it's not a remote job, I would have to let them work from home every time they have some type of inconvenience. Like their child is sick, their child is not going to school today. they woke up feeling a little they woke up feeling a little sick. They can still, they don't want to take the day off, but they can still, but they just don't want to be like around all the people and stuff. Like you just have to let people work from home in this industry, because if you don't, they're gonna go to another company, and then you're screwed. Why? Because all the other companies let you do that. So that's kind of one of the advantages that being a developer has nowadays. So if you have a child, I feel like it's a great career for you to get into. Now, how you gonna manage the time? I don't know. Yeah, yes, that is a good perk. You're right, Jay. Um, like I don't have kids, but like I said, I see like all my other coworkers that do have kids, like they, anything that's going on with their child, they stay home and they can be with their child. So So yeah, that's a good perk of being a developer. So if you have a child and you're interested in development and you're interested in technology, I feel like you should definitely go for it. Now, as far as giving you advice, I will have to think about that a little more. Maybe I think about it a little more in an objective way, not kind of like just brainstorming like I am right now. Because I understand that if you have a child, you're not gonna be able. I'm responsible. I'm a grown man, and I'm responsible for me. So I made my decision to quit my day job and start for like 8 months, but have the week free so that I can learn development. If you have a child, you cannot make the same type of decisions that I made. Because, well, you probably can, but I just don't know. I will have to think about it a little more, because at the same time, you're not only responsible for you, so I can start myself because I'm a grown man and I can decide if I want to eat tuna fish and ramen noodle for 8 months. But if you have a child, you probably don't want to do that. You probably want to make sure that your child is fed and he's healthy and he's eating good all the time and shit like that. Um, yeah, so no, it's super hard, but it's a sacrifice that's worth it. At least for me, because of the lifestyle and future that being a web that gives you. Oh yeah, to me, I feel like I feel like it's worth it. Um, like again, I already mentioned the reason why. So if you have a child, I feel like it's a good career to get into. Now, how are you gonna, if you have a job full time where you're working like 13 hours a day and you have a child? I don't know, man. That's tough. That's tough. What I would say is, what I would say honestly is, if I had a child, I probably would. If you had a job like I had, like 13 hours a day, I would say try to find another job. Not like me, because I kind of went to the stream and found something part time that was only Fridays and Saturdays, and sometimes only Saturdays. So don't be like me and get something that's only Fridays and Saturdays. But but get you something like um get you something that you can do Monday to Friday, but like 8 hours. Because in 8 hours, you know, in 8 hours you can get you can work your 40 hours a week normal, and you still have, you know, like like 4 hours after you get off work that you can learn into web, that you can put into web development. And honestly, you don't really need more than that. Um, like yes, I used to do like 8 hour days, but at the same time, like a lot of the time, I would say like about like an hour of the time, I was probably on my phone. Um, Probably like I spent a little more time, like I don't know, just maybe I would watch a YouTube video in the middle of it or something. But like like completely focus. If you do 4 hours like completely focus, and you shut down your phone, or you put it in airplane mode, and and you completely focus on learning, 4 hours is a really good time. So if you can just do that, let's say for like, let's say you do that like every weekday for like, and then you do it on the weekends for like 5 6 months, I feel like you'll be able to get yourself a job. I feel like you at least be able to get yourself like a junior developer job. um and obviously your child and you will start to see the benefits right away. Now, if you're working 13 hours a day right now and you go from that to working 8 hours a day, obviously your pay is gonna drop unless you can just get a better job. But if let's say you're getting the same amount per hour, your pay is gonna drop because you're not gonna get paid overtime, and you're not gonna, and it's gonna be less hours even if it wasn't overtime. So with that, you're just gonna have to be financially smart, and you're gonna have to start the budget. That's something that I had to do, even though I don't have a child, but it was because I was making a lot less money. But yes, you're gonna have to budget, and you're gonna have to keep a strict budget. You want to make sure that even though you're taking a pay cut, your child is well fed. Well, that's cool, but you know what that means? That when you're on break at work, you're not gonna go out and get Chipotle. That means you're probably gonna have to make your food at home and make it cheaper, and things like that. So that's what I would say. If you have a child, I would say try to cut your hours so you're not working 13 hours a day, and try to see if you can get you a job where you're working about 8 hours a day. Um, there's some jobs where, especially like if I think the person that asked the question is a female, there are some jobs that you can make more money just for being a female. And I'm not trying to be like, like I know this is it's hard to say things like that because as soon as you say something like, "What do you mean that just for being a female? Are you saying men and women are not equal?" Eh, like I don't want to get into all that, but I know because before I worked at that restaurant where I was working 13 hours a day, um, like I mentioned briefly, it was because that restaurant was owned by a family that I knew, and I really liked them a lot, and they asked me to work there as a manager. But before that, I was delivering pizza. That was the job that I had right before that one. And when I was delivering pizza, like the woman that worked there make like double what the guys make. I don't know. People just tip them more. It's it just kind of like damn. Like all the guys are kind of like damn, but it's like if you were a woman and you were not making like double what the guys were making, like I don't know what was wrong with you. And I'm not saying like these were like oh like super good looking woman or whatever. I'm talking about like they were just like regular woman, but they would just get tipped more. That's just the way it worked. And I know at least like in pizza delivery, like you can work like a 5 6 hours a 6 hour day, and you can make a lot more. You can make a lot more than you would make like if you were working like a regular entry level job like a factory or something like that. Now the downside to that, and why not everybody's doing it, and I can tell you like I said because I lived a life of being a pizza delivery driver for a while, is because for example when I deliver pizza I have to work Saturday nights and Friday nights. So when everybody was out, especially me, like being in my 20s, I've worked delivering pizzas from the time I was 22 to the time I was about 24. No, from the time I was 20, I was like 21 or 22, and I delivered pizza until I was like 23 or 24. But it was like 2 years of doing that, like in my early 20s, So all my friends be going out to all my friends will be going out to drink, and they'll be going out and partying, and they will be having a get together or whatever. And I will be working. I even remember like working like on freaking New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. Like I told you, I had a at that time I had a roommate, and like before I moved here, I had a roommate. And my roommate was my cousin, um, and we lived together. And because I delivered pizza, I remember on New Year's Day, that would be like the busiest day of like the place where I deliver pizza from, because it's the day that like more people are drinking or whatever, so nobody want to cook. They just want to like buy pizza or whatever. And I remember like they would like at my house, my cousin, my roommate was having like this big ass party, and like all the whole family was invited, everybody was invited. You know, a lot of alcohol, big nice party at the house, and I would be delivering pizza, and I remember because they while I was working, they ordered pizza from my place just to see if I would if it would get assigned to me. So I had to deliver pizza to my own house while they were having a big ass party there, and I just wanted to party with them, but instead I had to work. So that's kind of like what sucks about like delivering pizza, and that's why not a lot of people want to do, especially like young people, because that's it's in the when everybody's having fun, and on the weekends or whatever, that's when you work the most. But if I was able to do it during like my early 20s, um you should be able to do that like when you have a child because you know at that point you have a child. So like if your main responsibility shouldn't be going out there and partying or whatever. So that's what I would tell you. Like maybe get a job like that where you can just work on the weekends, work a lot fewer hours, um, or not only on the weekends, but maybe work have a lot more days free. Work like pizza delivery. You you don't really work 8 hours usually. You usually work like 6 hours a day or something like that. So that's gonna give you more. And on top of that, it's usually like on the weekends and at night and things like that. So, and if you're a woman, like I said, you're gonna make way more money. Like for example, on the weekends, I remember like on a good weekend, I would make like on a good Saturday night when where like everybody was out drinking and the weather was nice or whatever, and so everybody just started buying pizza. Um, I would probably make like on a really good night, I would probably make like $150. I'm talking about like on a really good night, on a really good Saturday night. Um, and the woman like on the same day they could easily make like $300, $250. So that's what I would say. If you're working at like a crappy level, maybe look into that because I feel like that could help you a lot get into the industry. You're just probably not gonna be able to work. You're not, probably not gonna be able to party or whatever. But you know, if you have a kid, it sounds like you have bigger priorities than that. Other than that, just try to get you a regular job where you don't have to, where you can work like 8 hours or less a day, so that you can have more time. But yeah, man, definitely worth it. Let me see. Any more questions in here? Man, I've been here for like an hour and a half now. That's crazy. I didn't even notice. And I haven't really been fixing my computer like I was supposed to be. So yeah, anybody has any more questions or anything that they want to talk about? Um, and by the way, I kind of like how like people are not just like asking me stuff, and I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with the fact that there's only like what like six viewers watching right now, and we had a maximum of like 9 at one time. But maybe it's because of that. But I like the fact that like people ask a question and it's like other people answer them, so it's kind of like a conversation going on, and people like talking to each other and agreeing with each other and whatnot. I feel like that's kind of cool, I guess. So that's probably one of the things that I kept it interesting, even though there's not that many people on here. How do you feel? I'm Dominican. How do you feel about the people? Freddie Martinez asked me, "Where are you from?" So I'm Dominican. How do you feel about the people that say they got a job as a web dev in 3 months? I feel like the people that got a job as a web dev in 3 months, um, how do I feel about those people? When you say that, it reminds me of Chris Sean. And I'm pretty sure if you're like, you probably know who it is. You guys probably know who Chris Young is because he has like a video that's very popular about how he became a developer in 3 months. But anyway, I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily about him. By the way, that's also another channel that he said, "Yep, I follow him. Yep, yep, yeah." He's kind of he's like him, coding face, and people like that. Like a lot of us, the beginners, follow them. you know, Chris Sean. Nobody's mentioned that about the 3 months. I think that's kind of interesting that you mentioned that. Yeah, one of the first vids you seen. Yeah, Christian. I talked to him when I was about like 2 months into learning. Or about I was like about 2 months after I quit my job, and I was like 2 months going hard at development. And he released a video about like how he became a developer in 3 months, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. And he shared his story, and it's a little bit kind of like mine. Um, in the fact that he was, didn't have a degree and that he was working basically the fact that he didn't have a degree and wasn't working as a developer, didn't have a computer science degree, and was able to get a job. So when I saw that, like he became a developer in 3 months, I was like, wow, that's fucking crazy. Yeah, he said, shoot, I want that to happen to me. To me, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, wow, I want it to happen to me. So I was like, wow, man, that's freaking crazy. So I commented on how did I do this? How did I don't know how I did it, but I pretty much talked to him. I don't know if I commented on his video and he gave me his email, or if he said to add him on Facebook and I messaged him on Facebook. Oh, I know how I did it now. He talked about his website, and so I went to his website, and on his website there was like his contact info. So I contacted him and I said, hey man, like that's crazy that like that's awesome that that you got a job in 3 months. Uh, that's that's awesome, man. I'm like 2 months in and I'm trying to learn, but I feel like I'm so far away from getting a job or whatnot. Uh, and he told me, hey, give me a second. Can you FaceTime? And I was like, okay. So I FaceTime him and we was talking on FaceTime and I was being recorded without even knowing it, by the way. Um, um, it's kind of creepy, I guess. Um, but I was talking to him, and I didn't even know that I was like being recorded, and because like we was FaceTime, he was like he had like his laptop at a restaurant, and apparently he had like a camera, like his video camera was pointing at like the laptop. So like I couldn't see the camera, but he was like the camera was in an angle where all I could see was him, like from the FaceTime. But like there was like a camera that was like recording him talking to me, and he didn't tell me he was recording me, which is kind of creepy because I was, I don't know, like people act different when they know they're being recorded. I think, well, at least a little bit. But anyways, he recorded this whole conversation and I didn't know about it. Sue him. He got to pay now. No, I mean he's cool. He's cool people. And actually, you can probably go to his channel when you finish watching this, and you can probably find that conversation that I had with him. Um, it's in his channel. I know because I watched it because that's how I found out that I was being recorded. Because one day I just logged into YouTube and he's like, and he has a new video that's like meet Omar whatever. What the fuck? And I clicked on it and it's like the conversation he recorded of me on FaceTime talking to him. But anyways, um, so I talked to him and I asked him like, is it true that you got a job as a developer? In just 3 months? And he said, yeah, man. And he kind of told me the story. Yeah, I know it is crazy. And he kind of told me the story about how he got his job. And basically, he told me that he was like learning HTML and CSS, and then he met this guy, and he went to and he went to lunch with this guy um, that I don't remember the details, but basically it's that he met somebody, and that person like was like I don't know if he owned. I think he was the owner of the company, and he told him like, hey, um, okay, man, let's go. I get you a job. So that's why he told me. And according to him, he didn't know. I don't know if all that is in the conversation because I don't think even though he recorded the whole thing, I think like when he posted it on YouTube, like he chopped it up to like he chopped it up, so it wasn't like this whole long ass conversation. Um, but anyways, he told me like his story and like how he met this guy and the the guy basically he told him that he knew like HTML and CSS, and the guy still told him like, hey, that's good, like we can hire you and you can learn as you go. Um, and basically he told me that and he would say it like in pretty much all of his videos that he's really fortunate to get that opportunity. So I think I agree with that. I think he's really fortunate to get that opportunity where just by knowing HTML and CSS he was able to basically get a job. and and he said that he wanted a job really bad because he wanted like health insurance because of some health. thing that he didn't have insurance for. Um, so yeah, I'm happy for him that he got his job or whatever. Now, like he says in his own videos, he's very fortunate to get that. Do I think that's gonna happen to other people? It's possible. Do I think it's likely? Not at all. I don't think you're gonna get a job in 3 months. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to discourage you, but I don't think it's realistic to think that you're gonna be as lucky as he was to be able to land a job in 3 months as a developer just by knowing HTML and CSS. And why is that? Because quite frankly, that's not even like developing, or I mean, that's not even like programming. That's not like software engineering at all. That is that is that is coding. Yes, because you are writing code, you're writing HTML and you're writing CSS, and it's valuable. Um, it is valuable for sure. That's why that's why I learned there. Why not? Um, but it's not. It's coding, but it's not programming. That's just what it is. You're not writing any. You're not using any programming languages. You're just writing HTML and CSS. You just literally typing stuff to make things look a certain way or appear a certain way. But that's just how long did it take you to learn HTML and CSS? I would say about the same thing as him, about 2 months, um, to get a pretty good grasp on it. No, like I say, I was doing this. Now I think I was really damn good at HTML and CSS. I feel like I'm not as good anymore because I kind of learned it, got this job, never used it, never used CSS again, or at least not that often. Um, because I'm doing more like actual programming stuff now. Um, so I mean, I still know how to work and stuff, but I feel like I was still like when I first fresh learned it. Um, that was cool. How was I practicing? I was practicing by building my own shit. I was doing a lot of the I was reading the book that I showed you guys earlier. I don't know if you were here, but I show it again. Can you flip the camera? These books, I have my phone on that. But this, I bought this stack right here. That is gold right there. Coding Phase said that every developer needs to have those. Every front end developer, every web developer has to have that book, and not this one. Forget that one. That one I didn't even finish reading it. But these two are freaking gold. You need to get these books. That's why I always link them in all of my videos because these two books they come in a pack. And I actually there's a funny story behind this. I bought these two books from not these two. I explain that. Not these two exactly, but I bought this same package from Barnes and Noble, like an actual store, and it was like I don't know, it was like $80 for the two of them, which is not bad for the knowledge that you get from it. It's definitely a bargain. $80 for these two books for everything that you learn from it. But then after I bought it, I went home and I kind of said, let me see how much it is in Amazon, which I probably should have done before I bought it. Um, so I saw that in Amazon they were both like $40. I was like, what? That's like half of the price. So pretty much I got it from Amazon for like half of the price, and those two books are gold. Like that's those books are really good. That's why in all of my videos I always put the link and recommend people to get it. And then so yes, I was reading those books to answer your question, and and I was practicing by building my own shit. How do I flip the camera? Yeah. So I was reading those books, and I was practicing by reading my own, by building my own stuff. Like I built like a restaurant website. I never uploaded that and put it anywhere. Um, but it was definitely a good learning experience. And I mean, you just gotta do stuff. Coding Face always give this advice, telling people to go into Dribble.com and and find like web designs that are already made. So then the reason for that is so that you don't waste any time in Photoshop. Um, because as a developer, you're not ever gonna touch Photoshop unless you wanna like do your own shit, like like build your own website with your own design. But like for a company, you're never gonna do that. So yeah, he always says to just go to dribble.com, find a good design, and then try to rebuild it with CSS. Now I was fucking hard headed because I was actually a designer. I designed my own shit in Photoshop, completely in Photoshop, without thinking at all about how I was gonna develop it. And then only after I had a good, really good like picture pretty much that I designed in Photoshop, then I would find ways to make that happen in code. And there was always some struggle. It doesn't matter how well, I like pay attention to the video or like knew the theory. There was always some struggle with that. And but that's how you actually learn because when you don't, when you get struggles like that and you don't know how to figure it out, you just keep searching, googling or whatever until you get the answer, and that's how you become better, and that's how you get experience. So yeah, that's how I practice. So going back to the question about do I think it's realistic to get it in 3 months, to become a developer in 3 months? No, I don't think you're gonna become a developer in 3 months. Period. Um, at least not somebody that's gonna. You are not gonna be able to do anything in 3 months that a company is that is worth money to a company. However, there's companies that will like Chris Sean. There's companies like Chris Sean where he like where Christian works, where they gave him an opportunity to like they knew he was just a beginner and he only knew HTML and CSS, which is not programming. That's not even JavaScript, So that's just coding, not actual programming where you're dealing with logic. But they gave him an opportunity. So if you hustle out there and you go to meetups and you meet people and you stay involved in the community and especially if you're building like your own shit with HTML and CSS, I think that's the biggest part. If you only been in the industry for like 3 months and learning for like 3 months and you only know HTML and CSS and a little bit of JavaScript or maybe not any JavaScript at all, um, start building stuff. Maybe build you like a personal page. Maybe build like a simple restaurant landing page. Like I said, go on Dribble, build stuff because first of all, you have to do that for practice. If you don't do that, it doesn't matter how many courses you can take 7 courses about CSS and finish all 7 of them and watch them all of them and remember word by word what the teacher is saying. There's gonna be things that when you actually try to design your own shit, it's not gonna work as how you thought it would, and and um and yeah, it's just not gonna work how you thought it would. So that's how you actually gonna learn once you actually put that work in, and at the same time while you're putting that work in, you're developing stuff. So when you develop stuff, maybe you build like maybe like a personal page. It just has like a about me, about you, and like a contact and a home page and things like that. Things like that. Maybe you get a guy like the guy that offered the job to Christian that was impressed with that and gave him an opportunity. If you're doing your networking and your mark and your and going out there and getting involved with the community, you never know. But no, I don't think it's realistic. I think if you want to get a job as a developer, nowadays, especially with the way things are going, I don't knowing HTML and CSS and JavaScript is absolutely very, 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 very valuable in the fact that those are kind of like the building blocks. And if you don't understand that, you are not gonna be a web developer because you're not gonna understand how the web works. Period. But at the same time, I don't know any companies at all. Like I don't know many companies around me that are hiring like an HTML and CSS person. I just don't because it seems like I'm sorry, I just don't. Seems like companies, if it's a small company, if it's a small company, those a lot of times you have to do a lot of shit. So for those you have to you have to if it's like a small company that uses WordPress, you're probably gonna have to use PHP, and you're probably gonna have to do the JavaScript, and you're probably gonna have to do the CSS and HTML if it's a bigger company, and if it's a smaller company, sorry, you're probably gonna have to know those, because it's like a WordPress site. If it's a bigger company, then you are probably um, then they're probably working with things like React or Angular, where where like the CSS and the design and everything is like in the framework, so it kind of works all together. Um, so yeah, so I don't know anybody that's just hiring for like HTML and CSS, but at the same time, that does not mean it's not important. You need to learn that. But then once you learn that, then it becomes easy for you. If you learn HTML and CSS, and then you learn JavaScript, then after that, once you know those three things, then you learn React. And what happens? Boom! Now you know React. Now once you know React, there's hundreds and hundreds of companies hiring React developers. Just in my city, there's a bunch of companies that are just looking for React people. Or the same thing if you decide to go with Angular. You know, things like that. So that's why I think it's important to learn HTML and CSS. But realistically speaking, I just I don't since you asked me the question, do I think it's possible for you to get a job in 3 months? Um, Possible, yes. Likely, no. If you're as fortunate as Christian was, good for you. That's great for you. Now you can go there and learn. But I don't think everybody's gonna be that fortunate. I think you at least gonna have to learn something like React to um, React, or at least minimum, minimum, very minimum JavaScript, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. But again, once you know those, it's you're probably ready to jump into React. Now, how many hours a day do you put in on how to get a job? Um, Man, I was I don't know if you were here earlier when I was talking about um kind of like a little bit of my journey and stuff. Um, but there like I was telling I shared a story earlier about how I basically quit the job that I was working at a restaurant 13 hours a day, and took a part-time job on the weekends, and basically lived a pretty broke life, just so that I could have Monday through Friday off, so that I can work on development 8 hours a day. Um, so I did that, and since I was working on development for 8 hours a day, like it's pretty much impossible to code for 8 hours straight. Like not even the senior developers on my job do that. Like, you know, so a lot of the times while I was like developing, after like 4 hours straight, I would like take a break or whatnot. So I would get on YouTube and watch like what's going on in YouTube, which is what I hope you guys are doing when you watch my shit. I hope that that you put in work into actually building stuff, and then that you're watching me once you're taking a break for that, or once you're done with that, or before you start that. But anyways, um, I would, like I said, I would be working on development. Then once I hit like 4 hours and I was kind of like burnt out, I would like go on YouTube and see like other people what they were saying. So I would just get advice from everybody. I would watch people like Coding Face. I would watch people like I mentioned earlier, Learn Code Academy, Chris Sean. I would watch Traversing Media. I would watch people that are not even like have a big name, but they have shared a couple of videos on how to get a job as a software developer. And on top of that, most importantly, I would like Google it and see what people were saying in blogs and stuff like that. And like I said, again, it pretty much just turned out to me to be a part of the community. Once you start knowing developers and you're getting into the community, and if you start knowing people, if you get to a point, I'm gonna jump to the extreme. You know what I mean? With me, the case was I have no friends, I had nobody, not a single person that was into development. So I forced myself into a situation. I got involved with my local community around my city. Um, I got involved with the community that were not in my city, but that were in cities that were only like an hour and something away. So I would drive like an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes away to another city just to go to their meetups and stuff, and get involved with these developers. Now, Think about this for a second. Like I said, I'm gonna take it to the extreme. Imagine if you don't know anybody that's a developer, and you don't know anybody. How likely are you to get a job? You know, and that's assuming you know your shit. You know, probably not that likely. But now imagine that all of you, imagine that you being in the community involved so much, and you know all these people that you get. Like I said, this is extreme, but that all of your friends are developers, and all of your friends are working for companies. Do you think it's gonna be easier to get a job in that situation where all of your friends are looking for companies, and as soon as something opens up, they can tell you about it? Because obviously, then it's gonna be more easier. So, like I said, that's kind of like the extreme. Um, but so you just got, I'm not saying that you gotta replace all your friends for developers, but you gotta force yourself into a situation. You gotta get yourself in the community. You gotta get yourself not only in the internet community like this, but you gotta get yourself on your actual local community, and you actually gotta talk to these people, meet these people, hang out with these people. And I'm not saying like hang out, like go to the club with them and things like that. It's more of a professional relationship. I'm saying like hang out at the meetups that they go to. You know, get familiar with these people, exchange numbers with these people, network with these people. Um, and I feel like that's gonna be the best way for you to like get a job. And plus, on top of that, once you build something, you know, you show it to people, and you can only gain from that because they will either tell you what that shit that you built is, they will tell you, oh wow, that's good, man. I can show it to this guy because I know he's hiring, he's probably gonna like that. So either that's gonna happen, or the other thing that can happen is that he's gonna tell you, damn man, that shit sucks. You need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to do this, and then you're gonna know what you need to do to get better. So it's only a win-win. Okay, this guy says, Omar, my questions, crying face. I'm sorry, coding forever. And then this guy said, I'm going to a meetup Sunday about tech. Yeah, man, that's what's up. That's where I used to go. Go to all the tech meetups. I would go to all the like startup meetups because a lot of like startup people like they be like trying to develop apps and shit like that. Yeah. So coding forever. Omar, my question. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, huh. Hey, man, greetings from Brazil. Just came in. Did you quit your job? Is it? No, man, I didn't quit my job as a developer that I got like um last year. I'm talking about how I quit my like restaurant job where I was working like 13 hours a day, um so that I could learn web development, um and only work part time on the weekends. Yeah, so I no, I didn't quit my job. I don't plan on doing that anytime soon. Okay, so coding forever. What's your question? Let me see. Oh, is JS really that hard? What is the most difficult thing about it? The most difficult thing about it is so coding forever asks is JS, so is JavaScript really that hard? What is the most difficult thing about it? Man, the most difficult thing about it is sitting your ass down and learning it. It's not that bad. I don't think it's that bad. I would say if you're okay, I'm gonna try to give you not just like some theoretical advice that should theoretically work, um, coding forever, but some advice that I actually think is more practical that actually tells you like what to do. Not just like gives you a theoretical idea. You have to figure it out. Um, you say yes, really that hard. I don't think it's that hard, but I think the problem is that you might be having is the same problem that I mentioned earlier in this video. So I'm not gonna get in too much of that because I don't want the people that already heard me that are still here um, to hear me repeat the same shit over and over. Um, but I'm gonna mention it for a second. I think the problem that you might be having is that you were learning it maybe from the wrong person. Me, when I first started, I was like trying to learn from YouTube, and like pretty much I was trying to learn on anything that was free. So I was like, it's tech. People say that there's free stuff and that you can learn all this stuff for free. Um, and that I don't have to pay for college. I don't have to pay for education. I can use free resources. I try to do that. To me, that just didn't work. I am sorry. Maybe to other people that does. Um, what about Treehouse? Yes, Treehouse is the shit. They're not sponsoring me or anything. Well, you guys know they're not sponsoring me because shit, I'm not even like I don't even have a lot of subscribers or anything. Um, but I wish they were. It'd be nice to get paid something for these videos. Um, but but yeah, Treehouse is the shit because unlike the free shit that you can get on YouTube, for example, I'm gonna mention it for a little bit. Sorry, but just to answer her question or his question, whoever coding forever is, um, when I was on YouTube learning this shit for free, I was watching shit um, like um, like Learn Code Academy, for example. Even though I love his channel and it's a great channel to follow, to stay in touch with everything, so I still like watch his videos and stuff. But like for learning stuff, especially when I was like very beginning, he just didn't get in here. He just like bounced off. Like he talks like, and I feel like that's most of YouTube. They tell you things, and it's like because like they know it's like I know React, so I'm gonna teach you guys React, or I know JavaScript because that's what you're talking about. I know JavaScript, so I'm gonna teach you JavaScript. So they go in here and they go like, okay, so this is a variable, and this is that, and this is that, and you know, and this is that, and this is this, and they just kind of like go on and on and on, and they talk in a way where they think that just by saying like the definition of it or something, like that you're gonna understand it. They act. I feel like they just like disconnected from the mindset of a beginner, and when once you get into once you get into a stage when you're that advanced, I guess that's possible where they know their stuff and they kind of some of the basic stuff that you don't understand because of your mindset. You have never done this before. They just kind of assume that by giving you a very fast explanation, you're gonna get it. So they just go on and on and on, and you like don't understand half of the shit, and you have to like rewind the video a million times, and you still don't get it or whatnot. So that's why I just one day I said like, okay, I'm stop fucking with this shit. Like, okay, I get it. I don't have to go to school for this career. I don't have to spend money on college. That's good. But at the same time, I can fucking spend some money. I can fucking spend $50 a month. Like it's fucking $50. I can spend $25 a month on Team Treehouse and actually learn from actual teachers, people that know the psychological mindset of a beginner, people that understand the state that your brain is at when you're learning, and they can actually explain things step by step by step by step by step in a way that you understand this, now you understand that, and now you understand this, and you actually learning. So to me, it makes like all the fucking difference in the world when you're learning from somebody that's just a person that knows the things but don't know how to teach, as to when you're learning from people that are like actual teachers of this stuff, like people that this is their livelihood. They just teach this shit for a living, and they're like really good, and they've written books about it and whatnot. So I think that's probably one of the things. If you're using like a lot of free resources, that's probably the struggle that you're having, just like I used to have. It wasn't until I started paying for stuff and investing into better quality content that I actually started learning. So I hope that helps. And no, I don't think it's that hard once you have somebody that can teach it. It's just about like, how much time you put into it. And when you learn something, just kind of practice with it. You learn a little bit of something, practice with it. You know, with JavaScript, you're not gonna build an app over a day. But for example, you can, once you're learning like to manipulate the DOM, for example, you might do something like when you click on this button, I want this alert to show up. And that might be real simple, but once you get the very it's kind of weird because you learn like this little simple stuff that seem really easy to learn, but then you learn enough of them that then you understand how they connect together, and all of a sudden you can pretty much do whatever you can think of in an application or something. um it's kind of crazy, but that's kind of how it works. So yes, I would just say invest your money, get some good teachers. I would recommend Team Treehouse, and I would recommend again, this motherfucker better pay me some money for promoting his shit. But anyways, I always link this video in this book stack in my videos, and that's gold right there. And I think that JavaScript book is very good. Like I said, it understands the mindset of a beginner, and So yeah, I think you can benefit a lot from that. So I hope that answers your question. Let me see what else. Speak about your daily job and what do you do there and stuff. Is it so much different than you got prepared to? Yeah, yeah, about my daily job, um, that's a long topic. um, but I pretty much go there and I okay, I'm gonna try to give you like a less than 1 minute explanation or something. I go there. They do this thing that's called agile methodology. You can look that up. Um, and and pretty much the way it works is that there's a lot of things that need to be fit, and they're like on a board. Well, all boards kind of like digital. I was in a team that used like post like note cards, um, like shit, where the hell? Like post notes card. Uh, shit, I don't know what happened to my note cards. Um, well, like this, like sticky notes. A job, like sticky notes like this, and they just have it like on a wall, and they have like a to do, um, to do, in progress, testing, um, blocked, and done. Things like that. And basically, if you pick up something, you pick it up from to do, you put it in progress, you work on it. Like, it might say something, for example, like, oh, there's an error on this database. Every time the user clicks on this button, the database throws an error and everything breaks, for example. So you pick it up, you put it in progress, you try to fix the error with the database. Once you're done, you put it in testing so that somebody else can test and make sure that it actually works. And then once they're done testing it, they either tell you, hey, you messed up, that still doesn't work, and give it back to you, and then you do it again until it works. Or they put it in done, basically meaning that it's done. And if it's blocked, for example, like, oh, I can do it because I don't know, the electricity is gone and I can work on my computer. I don't know. Then you put it in blocked. Some teams do that with like an actual, board on the wall where you put the sticky notes. And some teams, and I was in a team like that when I first started there. And then some teams do it like through the computer. There's a lot of software like that. You can actually start. You should probably start using this because I used this like kind of like to organize my whole life when I was like before I got my job. And it's Trello.com. That's Trello.com. Trello, and that kind of once you see that, that's kind of like a free version of the actual software that we use. Well, that's not the same software that we use in my job. We use like a way more expensive one, but that's like a free version. That's not like for an enterprise. It's like a version that you can do it and apply it to your own development to keep things more organized. So yeah, that's kind of what I do on my job. And if you want to know like more about like how was it when I first got my job and like the differences and all that stuff, then you should click on my channel and watch that video like my first day at my first job as a web developer. And I feel like that would answer your question. Um, Even better. No problem, man. So I think somebody else asked a question. I can't remember what it was. Hey, by the way, thanks for like, you know, watching my stuff all the way from Brazil. I appreciate that. Udacity or Team Treehouse, bro? Shit. I don't know about Udacity because I never used it. It's probably good. I don't know. I feel like it's probably good because I isn't it like Google or something that works with them, or maybe I'm getting them confused. I don't know. I never used Udacity. But Team Treehouse is good, especially if you're a beginner. Team Treehouse is good. Like they really, it's you know it's different when you have like some guy on YouTube like just telling you stuff. Oh, that's me right now. No, when you have like some guy on YouTube like actually teaching you stuff, like just kind of like you know just because they know it. In Team Treehouse, they just you can just tell that it takes money to make this video. It takes money. Like their teachers are like they hire like the best people in the industry, people that have written books about this, people that are proven to know how to teach this stuff. On top of that, they so these people are getting paid well. When these people are selling are selling books like crazy, you have to pay them well for it to be worth their time to come to your studio and record this this um these courses. And again, it's not like Udemy where people just record it in their living room, even though Udemy is really really good also. Uh, but it's actually like they have a studio. When they try to explain things, they like use a lot of animation and graphics. They invest a lot of money into their material. So yeah, I think Treehouse is good. Um, yeah. These guys say, I have those books you have. I read them every day. Yeah, man, those books are what's up, man. Those books are cool, man. Oh, thanks, Eduardo, man. I appreciate that. It's really nice. Thank you for watching, man, and stuff. Man, I just feel like honestly, this career is changed my life, and it's not like because I'm getting paid a little more money or whatnot. Because I feel like that can happen in a lot of ways, but I just feel like I'm like part of the future, and I feel like I'm working at a company where I'm valued, and I feel like on top of that I'm able to create things um on my own if I wanted to. And so yeah, man, I feel like this career has changed my life pretty much, and for the better. And I feel like, for example, like on my job, there's not a lot of people like me that have like a background like me. It's usually like I don't want to say like at my job. I just like in the career in general. It seems like most of the people are kind of people that kind of live had life. I don't want to say they had it easy because I think it's messed up to say like, oh, they had it easy. You never been through my struggle, man. You never been through my struggle. um, but it feels like a lot like most developers are like people that don't even know and will never know what it's like to live out there in the struggle. They're not even gonna know what it's like to like when you get out of high school, like go and work at a crappy job, instead of like going to college you know and living in college pretty much worry free. Maybe you're a little broke or whatever, but it's pretty much worry free compared to the real world. And then you finish your degree, and as soon as you finish your degree, you're getting paid $30 an hour, or $20 an hour, 25, whatever it is. And as soon as you leave college, pretty much you're able to buy a house or whatever. I feel like there's a lot of people like that. That's pretty much almost everybody in this industry. So, and there's not a lot of people like me that like being out there and seeing like kind of like the struggle out there, like getting paid minimum wage and then finally making out of minimum wage to making barely above minimum wage and whatnot. Um, so basically, I just want to see more people like that. Um, I just want to see more people like that in the industry. I don't want it to be like I don't want it to be weird that I don't want to be like one of those weird guys at the office. I wish that in the future there's like a lot more people that even though maybe like their lives is not like they're not living their dream life right now, um, they can actually like get up their ass and hustle and get into the industry. And I feel like I will feel I feel like it would be awesome to be part of an industry where like everybody that's here or like it's like a real hustler, like people that like got up and did something and came up rather than people that just had it easy the whole time. And I don't know, I think that'd be kind of cool if when people thought of developers, they were like, "Oh, you're a developer." That means that you hustle for your stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't really know how to explain it, but at the end, I just feel like it changed my life and in very positive ways, and I feel like if I can help anybody do the same, that'd be cool. Um, yeah, pretty much that. Minorities are coming up in the industry for sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's kind of what I. That's kind of what I hope. I mean, there's a lot of Indian people that technically are minorities. There's a lot of Indian people in pretty much every tech company. How long do you do Treehouse for? Man, I still do Treehouse. I still be taking courses on there, at least like one time a week or something. I still be watching their videos. Usually I do it a lot more. And the only reason I'm not is because I'm actually reading a book about Java right now. So that's like most of my training outside of work nowadays. But if it wasn't because I was reading the book, I would probably be doing Treehouse like hopefully every day or like Monday to Friday at least after work. So yeah, Team Treehouse. I'm still subscribed to that shit. I'm still paying for that shit. Um, but yeah, and like I said, there's like I was saying like for Jay that said minorities are coming up in the industry. Yeah, man. Um, that's one of the things, man. Especially like Latinos and black people, pretty much. Uh, Well, I'm gonna say this: minorities, everybody but Indians. Nothing against Indians, like at all. But I'm just saying because like a lot of tech companies, there's a lot of Indians because Indians they know how to hustle and they don't want to come to America to work. I mean, some of them do like work at the gas stations and things like that, but most of them they want to come here to freaking study and to freaking get their shit together. So there's a lot of Indians where I work, and there's a lot of Indians at pretty much every tech company. Um, and I kind of like it honestly because if it wasn't for Indians, I'd be surrounded by only white people. Um, so I like that there's other people that are from a different country besides me, um, that also have an accent. So that's cool. It makes me feel less taboo. um, but at the same time, you don't see black people like that. Um, you see like you don't see like Latino people like that. Like for example, my job is oh man, that place is huge, and I don't know how many developers we have. We have like 400 developers or maybe more in the building, and you just like I feel like I know not that I know because I'm necessarily like like I'm not in the team with them or anything, but like there's only like all the black people and Latino people, it's probably like less than 10, or it has to be less than 10, because not like if I think about it, I can only think of like three or four, maybe five people that are black, and I saw this one guy that his name was Pedro. I saw it written on this thing that he was presenting, so I'm assuming he's Latino, but yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. This shit is getting long, and I have shit to do. God damn, it's almost fucking 10 at night here. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna get this computer shit fixed. Um, I was supposed to do that as I was speaking, but obviously, it's kind of hard to read the comments and not look at the screen at the same time. So I'm gonna get this shit done. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. Maybe I'll do this another time again. Um, I'm assuming that everybody that's watching is subscribed already. If not, subscribe, please. And yeah, hopefully I make another. Shit, it's been a week since I posted the last one. I need to make another video soon. All right. Well, anyways, thank you. I'll see you guys later. No problem, man. Anytime. All right. I'll try. Bye.